welcome to your presentation day. I know you've been looking forward to this for 4 days now, 3 days now. We're very excited to welcome you to the Capitol and for your presentations that you've been working very hard on. I want to thank you all for your time, your effort, your collaboration, and I appreciate all that you've done these last few days. So I give you all best wishes because I know you're all going to do wonderful, but have fun. I think that's the most important piece, is to have fun. We will film these, so what the process will be, as you know, you have 8 minutes to present, 5 minutes of Q&A. The first few minutes of questions are going to be reserved to our panelists, and then if there is still time allowed, the questions then will go to the audience, okay? You each have a scoring sheet. Be sure to rate each group. Do not score yourself, okay? I'm sure you'll probably already understood that, but do not score your own team, please. Be sure to pass your score sheets at the end to your team leaders, who will then give them to our exec. Does everybody have a pen? I'm assuming so, but if you need an extra one, now would be the time to raise your hand so we can bring one to you. Jose, can you bring a pen? Thank you. So remember, 8 minutes to present, 5 minutes of Q&A, and then you have the 2 minutes to transition on and off. You've asked if you can have your phone up there, your notes. Yes, take whatever you need to read your piece if you need. That is fine, okay? There is a microphone. If the light is on, that means the microphone is live, okay? Y'all ready? Okay, well then let's call our first team, Team Swans. Come on up, team.
Hi, we are Waterways, and we are a nonprofit organization that's the sole purpose is to reduce plastic water bottle usage. Okay, before we start off, let me give you some fun facts. 2.5 million water bottles are thrown away every hour in the United States. And last year we bought 50 billion water bottles collectively. Now keep in mind that one water bottle takes about 400 years to decompose. And even when the plastic water bottle decomposes, it doesn't decompose all the way. It decomposes to microparticles, which then can cause problems for the ecosystem.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the question that we have today is, how can we decrease plastic bottle usage? And here's what we propose. We propose that we create a non-profit organization called Waterways. Called as such because we will show the way to future generations, the way to a better world. We will do this by informing the younger kids, particularly at Ortega Elementary, which consists of the grades Kinder, First, and Second. We will inform them through monthly activities and presentations on the effects of plastic bottle usage. We will accept donations from Clean Canteen of reusable water bottles, which in turn, because now they're reusable, decreases the usage of plastic water bottles.
Okay, well, these monthly sessions will not only inform the students about the negative impacts plastic water bottles have on our wildlife, but also engage them to make a change by incorporating methods that catch the interest of students. Like, for example, we'll include informative films like Disney Nature and like cartoons, animated characters, like stuff that appeals to the students, and also like coloring books, interactive activities, so we can get them engaged and to learn more about the message we're trying to convey. Also most importantly, to incorporate using kid language meaning using more repetition, so we can really engrave the importance of like using recyclable water bottles, and so they can go home to their parents and tell them like, hey, I learned that what the negative effects of plastic water bottles are causing in our environment, and so they can tell their parents, their friends, and that's how we'll get the word out and we'll make a change.
One of the most important aspects or components of Waterways is that in this program we will provide each participant with a reusable water bottle. This water bottle is known as Clean Canteen, and Clean Canteen is a pre-existing company. They've been around for a while, and aside from being reusable, they're both durable and they're economic. And durable is very good for the kids. Stainless steel is a very sturdy material, and kids like to play a lot. And so these like that aspect would be very good for the young age. And it will actually be like an incentive. The kids, well, if they bring their KK, they will have, let's say they bring it like a set amount of times. And if they continue to do this, they will be rewarded from their teacher. Let's say, like, I don't know, like they'll have like a snack party or something like that. And this will entice them to continue to stay on the idea that plastic water bottles are something that needs to become extinct. Because here at Waterways, we care about the future.
A way that we can ensure that these plastic water bottles will be extinct is by essentially using the method of inform and preform. We will be doing this by, like my colleague said, having these monthly sessions informing the kids about the effects that plastic water bottle usage has in our world. Effects such as the increase in our landfill, extinction in our wildlife, and problems overall caused by the plastic in our climate. Emphasizing our purpose on the reason why we're targeting such a young audience is because they're so young, they're absorbing a lot of knowledge, and in turn, they're putting it to action at home. They're telling their friends, they're telling their families. So using this to our advantage, we can instill an eco-friendly mindset to them and a passion for them to want to change the world, therefore encouraging them to use these reusable water bottles.
Speaking of the effects on the environment and wildlife, let me hit you with something. You see, there is an estimated 100 million casualties annually due to plastic pollution. 8 million tons of trash end up in the ocean, and over 250 species are confirmed to have ingested plastic at some point or another, which kills them. And the thing about plastic water bottles is that they are not biodegradable. They're meant to endure through lots of things, and as such, they can take anywhere from 450 years to over 1,000 to degrade.
So speaking of water bottles, here are some facts and estimating about the amount a family spends on them a year. So the average family size is 4 people, 2 parents and 2 children. So, and an average person drinks about 3 water bottles a day. So we did some calculations, and a family would spend around $720 a year just on water bottles. That's a lot of money. So then if their 2 children receive a clean canteen, essentially a family will be saving $360 a year. And if you think about it, that's a monthly car payment.
Some of the ways that we can promote our company and reach out to the kids is by using cartoons and animations on our posters and our videos and our promotional videos. We can also put them on shirts. For example, these 2 were made by one of our colleagues and they're original. And using these on shirts and stuff will really get our company out there and our message out there as well.
At Waterworks, we care about the future, and our future is our children. So it's been known that children have a lot of empathy towards animals. And if children grow up in a world where ocean animals are going extinct, or a lot of dead ocean animals are being washed up on shore, it can result in a unhappy populace. So, in conclusion, our purpose is to educate all of our students into knowing, and to implementing reusable water bottles. We will achieve this by, like my colleague said, informative videos, coloring books, fun facts, interactive activities, in order to further emphasize the point on children. And our mission is to generate an eco-friendly mindset and passion, so we could reduce landfills, increase wildlife, and also decrease climate change. Our goal here at Waterways is to make children feel like superheroes, so they have the power to change the world. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay. Any questions of the audience? Yes, Michael?
Okay, so how much of an actual difference would this make? Like, how many bottles would you all be saving each year?
While I do not have a quantifiable number, I can use logic to do so. Now, our children are our future, correct? We can all agree on this. And it is hard to change older generations' mindsets. But children are malleable. If we were to teach children that plastic water bottles are in fact endangering our environment, damaging our wildlife, well, they would grow up with this. And if they see someone throw litter perhaps in the street, they would get angry about it. So while the effects may not be immediate, this new generation would soon take over and the world would be better.
First of all, I think y'all did a fantastic job of using some creative ideas to solve y'all's issue. One question I did have is that you did focus on elementary age kids, and you talked about incentives that teachers would give them if they brought the clean canteen water bottle to class. My question is, the relationship between y'all's nonprofit and the school, how do you see that exactly? Because do teachers always have extra time to educate students about the water bottles, and also where are these incentives going to be, where's the money going to come from?
Okay, so I guess you could say an inspiration to our nonprofit was an organization here at UT Austin, which is known as Sprout Scouts. So that's the reason why we chose Ortega Elementary, because we can use those pre-existing connections so that way we don't have to worry about, convincing teachers when we can already, like as I mentioned before, just reinforce those connections and use them to our advantage.
And as far as money goes, the Environmental Protection Agency does have several grants available to us. Environmental agencies that seek to educate the public, specifically SF 404. If we were to only figure it out, and this really would only require less than $1,000. So we are sure that we can achieve this money. Yes?
So, according to your presentation, it showed that you were only targeting one school. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. If your project is only targeting one school, how's that going to have a big scale impact in reducing and helping and actually helping the environment? If it's just one school.
Okay, my answer to that is there's always a start. You always have to start small, and eventually we'll break off to other different schools, and other people would be inspired by us to continue on our plan.
Okay, we've got time for one more question. Thank you. In the back had a question. Yes.
Okay, so I understand that you guys want to use this renewable bottle, but how much money will people actually save with buying these bottles? And did you guys find any research that shows that people are actually going to buy these bottles?
Well, I don't know if we mentioned it before that the children at Ortega Elementary will be given a clean canteen water bottle for free. So the parents are not purchasing the clean canteen itself.
So to add on to what she was saying, these reusable water bottles will be given to them as an incentive for those that do bring in, maybe like ones that they already have. So like she mentioned earlier, there is money saved in a family of 4. You'd essentially be saving how much?
$360.
$360 annually. So our vision is to start there and give people, our audience, a vision of how much money they could save with just giving this reusable water bottle to 2 of their members. Now, we're sure that people can do the math and kind of say, like, if this is only 2 people, imagine the difference it can make if this was a whole family.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are here on behalf of the 2017 Subiendo Academy. We are Team Giraffes.
Our team leader is, I'm so sorry.
Emilu Mata.
Emilu Martha. I am so sorry. My name is Amber Garcia, and I am from Somerset High School. To my right, I have...
And I'm Yancy Arsola, and I come from Jackie Singley Academy.
I'm Jennifer Roman, and I come from Del Valley High School.
My name is Marvin Villatoro, and I come from Dobie High School.
And to my left, I have...
Troy Torres, I'm from Boyd High School.
Today, we will be talking to you about our nonprofit organization known as the Texas Outreach Program, or TOP. Throughout our presentation, we will talk about our challenge and our supporting data and offer you our proposal and the factors that we consider along with the funding and implications, and then we can end with a short Q&A.
So the reason why we chose this question is because the majority of us are first-generation college students. In particular, 98% of this year's Subiendo Academy participants will also be first-generation college students. Therefore, we are very passionate to help those who are in the same steps as us, in the same position, and wanting them to succeed in college.
Well, some key points we gathered while researching this issue is that 1/3 of college students are actually first-generation students. And many of these first-gen students have low AP or SAT scores. Getting further, this graph shows the existing diversity amongst these first-generation students. Next, we have data that surveyed first-gen and non-first-gen students. If they enrolled because their parents encouraged them to go, first-gen students obviously have a higher percentage than non-first-gen students. Now, the problem arises that since they are first-generation students, their parents were never really familiar with the college process because they never went to college. Overall, the key takeaway is that first-gen students are more likely to drop out of college because they have to work a part-time job to pay off their education since they weren't educated about the process. Therefore, this results in our government having a loss of $4.5 billion of income tax revenue every year.
With that said, we can agree that most of us are here today because we have a common goal to succeed, and we have a passion to see Texas strive together. We believe in the power of the potential future, and our vision here at TOP is to ensure that first-generation college students and their families are prepared and well-equipped with the resources that they need to transfer from high school into their first year of college and succeed from college. TOP will tackle individual success of the students from Texas, and from that, it's going to consist of tools that they will consistently need. The initial startup of TOP will not be entirely dependent on external actions. As students, we will continue to further our research and expand within our communities. Some of the main things that TOP will be offering are early onset college advisors. So they will provide all but not limited to rigorous coursework material, test prep, essay writing, and interview techniques. Also, a lot of college student interaction, so that way they can relate. So that way the students, like in high school, can relate to more mentors and closer age ranges. And we'll also help with applying for colleges and grants and loans and scholarships. With that said, we plan to target first-generation students, high school students, and their families, so that way we can make sure that they don't feel intimidated or uneducated, and to make sure that they feel that they're accommodated well.
A couple of things that makes our organization different than other organizations that take place today is that we're trying to include college students that are currently enrolled in college, can come back to the high schools and help students who are currently trying to enroll in college or trying to fill out applications, as well as applying for scholarships or anything that they would need help on that they're not informed about. Another thing we have is that we're trying to educate the students, but as well as the parents. Parents who take a very big factor in this because they're the ones who encourage the kids. If you don't have a parent encourage you, it's kind of harder for a student to go towards their goals. So if we encourage them, they'll be more aware, as in if they have more children, they'll be able to help them through their process if they've learned. A couple of disadvantages that we have is the funding. We're not exactly sure where would we get the funding from, but I know that we can figure it out because it's a program that is very important and should be used right now, especially for students that are first generation. They don't have enough help or they're not well informed enough. Another risk we would be taking would be if volunteers would be there to help. Mainly we would use the volunteers from colleges that are nearby or local that would come back and help high schools to explain to them like what they went through, how they did it, and what they're doing to succeed and mistakes they've made so that our next first generation will have better insight into them going into college. A couple factors that we need to consider are the economic barriers. That's a very big factor that ties into students going to college. Many of them decide not to go because they think of, oh, like this is a lot of money to pay for college, but they don't think that they're investing in their future, and that's something that they need to be educated on. Once they realize how much money it actually is and what it's worth to them, they'll realize like this is more than just paying this much money. I have to think about my future, and that's one of the main goals. And we will, with these economic barriers, we will inform them about scholarships, financial aid, loans, and grants, which could also inform their parents about too. The next barrier would be the language barrier. Me personally, my mother doesn't speak English. So when we go to meetings or when I push her to go, she's bored and she says like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't see the purpose of me coming. This isn't helpful to me because she doesn't understand what they're talking about and I have to be the one to translate, which also distracts me from learning what they're trying to tell me. And I don't think that's a good way to do it. I think that we should separate it. And if there's another type of meeting in Spanish or even like things that we can send out that are in a different language so that they can understand it and they can help us as students because we need their support too. As well as social and cultural and geographically.
Many parents can be afraid, misinformed, and often intimidated by the college process, which is a barrier we would like to break at top. Early onset college advisors would collaborate with school districts that we would incorporate this program to, and early onset college advisors would collaborate with high school districts we would incorporate this program to, and to send home letters about informational monthly meetings that would shed light upon issues like what is college, how do I apply to college, how do I apply for scholarships, like how do I fill out financial aid forms. These are questions that my parents currently have, and these are questions that arise within a lot of families across the state of Texas. In these meetings, we would emphasize the importance that college is a good investment and that it has long-term benefits. And we can also collaborate with HEB and Walmart during these meetings to come and sponsor food and supplies with the incentive of promoting them in return.
As many of you may wonder, our fundings will come from various foundations that support first-generation college students. One of the funding sources we looked at was the Meadows Foundation, in which they separate into two different funds. One of them is being regional communities and the other one being statewide. From there on, we wish to push this program forward and make it a nationwide.
Overall, TOP will decrease the disparities and lack of resources that are among Texas. With that said, we will implement TOP in diverse regions of Texas to ensure that the students and families feel comfortable and accommodated while being able to still provide an optimistic mindset that college success is possible for anybody who wishes to complete college in Texas. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Yes, Madeline?
Actually, that was great, and I think you articulated the need for that program really well. My question is, where would you start? How would you start identifying the high schools that you would want to be in?
Well, first of all, we'll start from our original high schools because that was the easy target. Honestly, starting an organization at school, all you have to do is talk to your principals and get it approved. From there on, we can. It's not competition to any organizations like at school, like NHS or others. So it's just going to benefit the students in there.
Linda?
You talked about funding, right? Food and supplies. What else is that funding going to cover?
Well, the funding will cover the advisors that will come and talk to the students, prepare them for the SAT, or just simply coming FAFSA. I know a lot of the guest speakers have a big impact by influencing us to continue to go to college and how important it is. He was mentioning the HAB. You want to talk about?
Yes. These are very family-oriented corporations, and I believe that they would be willing to help this cause because this is a big issue across, not only in Texas, but across the nation. And we can rely on them to help us for this cause because of that.
I do want to give two recommendations. One, I understand that many parents don't speak English, right? So they speak Spanish. So for the presentations, for them to be in Spanish, that takes up money. I've worked at the school district before. So you need to make sure that you have funding for interpreters, so they could do the sessions in Spanish, English to Spanish or Spanish to English, whichever way. It could be in Spanish and English for the students, and also translating the documents. If you put out a flyer and it's in English, the parents are not going to get it. So you need to make sure that that is taken care of. And one more thing, I would have liked to have seen almost like a curriculum of the year, like the different topics. Y'all mentioned them, but it would have been great to see it visually.
Okay, let's go to Zara.
How would your program compete against the existing programs that are available in many schools?
We will start younger. A lot of the programs that we currently see are mainly in high school, so we actually want to start younger. As our previous presenters had said, that children at a younger age are more malleable. So with that said, we want to start at a younger age, like the earliest onset of middle school, and we want to keep it consistent throughout until they complete college.
Or did you mean how would we compete against other similar things? So, for example, in Avid, they service the Irving school district, and I know that many of the teachers, they just have to do a small training, but some of them aren't motivated. They teach Avid, and then they teach another core class. I know I had my Algebra 2 teacher, and she was like, okay, I can't do Avid. I just did it because they needed a sponsor or someone to teach it, but I have other things to do, to focus on my students as well.
And with the on-site college advisors, that would be their sole purpose for being there. They wouldn't be teaching any other subjects or doing anything else. It would be just for this program specifically.
That's time, sorry. Thank you, good job.
Our company presents to you Siegen's Energy Efficient Homes. My name is Ashley Delgado, and I'm from El Paso, Texas.
My name is Miley Mejia, and I'm from the Rio Grande Valley.
I'm Alejandro Mendoza. I'm from El Paso, Texas.
My name is Joshua Moore, and I'm from Houston, Texas.
My name is Stephanie Arnoso, and I'm from Dallas, Texas.
My name is Ivana Guzman, and I'm from Puerto Vallarta, Texas.
We have been tasked in finding a way to teach people to make their homes more energy efficient.
Okay, so in recent years, Texas has been consuming massive amounts of energy. In 2015, the average annual consumption for a U.S. residential home was 10,000 kilowatts per hour. Texas home consumption was 26% higher than this average. This consumption mostly comes from air conditioning, water, and appliances in the home. The ELCD warns that energy emissions will increase by 70% by the year of 2050. These emissions could lead to dangerous things such as climate change, carbon footprints, less energy supply due to the higher demand, and also higher out-of-pocket expenses for the utility. However, according to the EPA, the gas emissions have been decreasing in the past years. Although the gas emissions are decreasing, the trend constantly changes along with our economy, so we need to work together to keep this trend decreasing.
Our solution is to create Siegen, which stands for Subiendo's Independent Green Utility and Energy Neighborhood. Siegen in Spanish means to move forward, which is why our goal as a company is to teach communities about home energy efficiency through partnerships including but not limited to Boys and Girls Clubs of America, YMCA, and Environmental Leaders of America. As the main hope of a nation lies in the proper education of its youth. Social change in the world starts with the youth of tomorrow. The two aspects of Siegen's goal are solar panel shutters and kits to implement into school systems and spread energy efficiency awareness. Although our business relies on solar panels made by manufacturers, we have created an app that controls the solar shutters with a user-friendly interface.
These futuristic solar panel shutters offer a sleek new look to modern-day homes. They are placed on the outside of a window and positioned on the north and south side of a home to provide the optimal amount of sunlight. Using an application that Siegen has developed, the shutters calibrate automatically and adjust its angle to allow the most sunlight exposure. The app can also be used to open up the shutters from anywhere inside the home. It helps show users how many kilowatts per hour are in fact being generated, and it also shows how solar shutters are helping homes use less non-renewable energy.
The reason why we want to maximize the amount of sunlight that reaches the solar panels is because we want to make a system that could possibly save 70% of energy consumption in a home, making approximately consumers pay $31 per month for their electrical bill rather than $104 as the average during 2015.
Through the automatic calibration system, the shutters angle themselves to remain open and provide light inside the house, while the solar panels are still absorbing sunlight. When the homeowner wishes to keep the sun out of their home, they can simply close the shutters so that the light is being completely blocked out but still being completely absorbed by the solar panels. The panels are also retractable in order to enable the owner to use the windows as they wish.
We wish to start with a capital raise of $200,000. We will go out and seek angel investors in order to receive as much funding as possible. Any remaining funds needed will be acquired through a loan. We wish to start a contract with a home builder in order to provide them with 25 units. Excuse me. As mentioned before, the system, in order to save up to 70%, will require 16 panels and a battery in order to store the energy produced, which will have a cost of $6,600. We would sell each unit for approximately $12,000, producing a possible profit of $5,400 per unit. The contract of 25 homes will give a net profit of $135 for a possible payment of $10,000 on a loan. Finally, with the gross profit of $125 for one contract with one home builder.
So some of the other alternatives we considered before coming up with the shutters was coming up with a website and lights that turn off and on when somebody enters a room. However, we realized that these inventions already exist, so there will already be a competition among that market. So the ultimate question is, how are we going to teach energy efficiency? So we need to start with our youth, and we're going to focus on the future generations. We need to teach people that energy efficiency saves people money, improves the economy, is good for the environment, improves national security, and enhances the quality of life. Doing more with less energy benefits ourselves, our country, and our world. Siegen will begin by partnering with the Environmental Leaders of America, a group established by our very own Subiendo's Eagles. What they want to do is influence schools on using alternative energy. So by partnering with the ELA, we're going to the schools with them, introducing our shutters, and teaching them about energy efficiency, along with giving them some kits provided by our company's profit. The kits will include string bags, energy-efficient shower heads, LED lights that save up to 85% energy, an educational pamphlet, and a sticker with our logo. How we're going to spread this company out at the beginning is through social media, ads on Southern Living and Better Homes House magazines, and how we're going to spread eventually on a global scale is by partnering with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America and the YMCA. So the incentives to get people to buy these houses is because people receive tax credit just for having solar panels in their houses, and eventually it increases the amount of money the house is worth. So here in Siegen, we believe that solar panels are our future. And according to Dr. Banner, a UT geologist said that in 2065, Texas will have twice the amount of population it has now, meaning double the amount of houses, meaning hopefully more energy efficiency in the future.
Some of our disadvantages include the existence of Tesla, an energy efficient company that is already a major known corporation. However, it is very expensive. With our approach, we can create a more affordable method and spread it to middle-class families. Also, some people may not like the look of solar panels in their home. However, we are going for a more futuristic approach to where in the future, almost every house has some solar panels. Another disadvantage is not having enough sunlight. Siegen will be focused on regions that have the most sunlight, such as the Rio Grande Valley, El Paso, and some parts of Houston. Lastly, our shutters don't power all of the energy in a home. Rather, it can save up to 70%. The major advantages that we will generate are lower the cost of utility bills, increase the value of homes, and most importantly, we care to save the planet for the future.
In closing, I would like to remind you of Bill Clinton's campaign slogan. He wanted to build a bridge to the 21st century. Since we have already accomplished this goal, we would like to now take the next step and build a bridge to the future. With these solar panel shutters, our society can push even closer to developing a world that no longer relies on non-renewable resources. As Dr. Martin Luther King once said, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving forward. Join Siegen in moving forward. Thank you.
Any questions here? Yes, Madeline?
That was really creative, and I love your branding and the fact that you guys actually came up with a product for this. My question in terms of how you're coming up with your funding for the company, why 200,000 in terms of the angel investor number?
Well, great question. Well, the $200,000 will allow us to buy 30 units, which consists of 16 solar panels and the battery in order to store the energy. And the contract that I mentioned, we will get a home builder in order to have them make 25 homes that with 1 unit each. That will make a profit of $135,000. And we will still have five units remaining in order to have as a backup.
Yes, I was gonna ask, what if people wanna install this system in your home? Since you already have the expenses, like $12,000 instead, how do you implement that in someone's home if they want it because they already have an electric system in the bottom of their house?
So you're asking to implement it in someone's home, they already have a home? All right, so basically to start off, we are only implementing them we're selling them to home builders. So these will be in new homes that are being built. We did that because we didn't want to have to go through all the electrical regulations and things. We wanted to be able to have those ourselves and develop those while we're building the home so that they can take care of that. So these solar panels are only for new homes that are being built as we take our steps to the future. Thank you.
Juan?
Okay, so this your ideas might seem creative, but what's it called? How is it going to sufficiently generate enough electricity? Because even right now with traditional solar panels, you have this storage and transparency issue. So the storage issue is that solar panels are unable to store enough energy, especially because of kind of like nighttime, and transparency issue has to do with because the solar rays, there's not all solar rays are able to pass through the atmosphere or the clouds, and a third problem arises from your idea because now there's a smaller area that your window panels or your window panels cover. With traditional solar panels, there's a larger area, and so if anything, your idea causes a third problem to the already existing two big problems, which is storage.
Did you have a question for them?
Now it's a issue of area.
So that is a good, that is a good statement that there are three problems. But for your third problem, you talked about the surface area. And using the panels and having them open and shut, they're still covering the same amount of surface area. So even though they might be moving, they're still the same amount. So aren't we still conserving the same amount of energy?
In addition to that, I found that to have a possible efficiency of 70%, we need 300 square feet, which since we're building the homes in partnership with the home builders, we're going to implement as many windows as possible in order to build have the 300 square feet. And for your problem with the battery, through extensive research, I found that there's a new battery, a lithium-ion battery, that is efficient in storing the energy.
And then another thing you said, what if there's not enough sun? We don't solely rely on this. We will also work with the utility companies. This can just save a person up to 70%, not the entire thing. So say it's a rainy day, say there's no sun. The utility companies will still provide you with energy. You'll never run out of energy. This is just a plus so you can save money.
Again, last question.
Could you explain more about what you were referring to in relation to the schools and implementing it in the schools? You said that you're going to have a partnership with the Environmental Leaders of America and go to schools and give these energy-saving kits. And how does that fit into your bigger mission and or cut into y'all's company's profits?
Yes, well, we are going to the Boys and Girls Clubs, the YMCA. We're going to start this off because we need to introduce our idea of saving energy. So by saving energy with our youth, as the previous two groups said, that's where we need to start. That's where we're going to introduce our shutters so that our idea might not kick off in the start with the home builders, but say in the future when the kids want to buy a house, they're going to say, oh, yes, I want to buy one of these houses. So we will promote our shutters and the kits that will save them energy, because I know some of us when we were little, we had some presentations go to our school, and those schools, they did provide us with, pamphlets, and there were about 30-minute presentations, maybe even less. So we can even do that with the schools that they're doing with. So we're just going to work hand in hand, and we are sponsoring them. So we have, they're a nonprofit and we're a corporation, so we're providing them with the funding too.
Oh, the Eagles team. She's talking about the Eagles.
Yes.
The reason we chose to partner with the Eagles is because their task at hand was to find ways to teach environmental efficiency into schools. So by us partnering with them, we are able to show the youth about energy efficiency and how by us taking these steps to the future, we can take the steps to a completely renewable energy in homes and in schools around the world.
Hey Faith, look, I got all these business cards right from a job fair that I went to, and tomorrow I might have an interview.
What? I don't even have one business card, let alone a job interview. So how did you...
Well, I took a trip with SubeBoost.
There are two people in college who, one goes on out to the branch and career on the profession. Two has little guidance.
All right. Hello. My name is Isaiah Villa.
Danielle Pisano. Jersey Howe. Faith Yoga.
My name is Alfredo Sanchez.
And today we are here to present SubeBoost.
Alright. So we were given a challenge. We were given a challenge in our higher educational system, and we came up with the solution using not only analytical thinking, but a vision into our future.
We were given the challenge to find a way to increase students' ability to enhance their professional relationships while still in college. So in order to be aware that there is an issue, we found some data from sources like Huffington Post, Time Magazine, or Business Insider. And basically this data just shows that college students who do internships are more likely to get job offers, feel more prepared, and are more satisfied with what they're doing compared to people who don't, college students who do not do internships.
Okay, so as seen on the graph above, we see, well, college graduates feel how they're ready to go into the workforce. They feel they're extremely ready, while the employers say otherwise. So we're here to close that gap.
The implications that we face internationally is due to the lack of knowledge. They're not aware of the resources like job fairs or internships. Another is less exposure and less opportunities, which our network is limited to peers and professionals. Some are unprepared for the real world that can lead to less success in their career and can be unhappy with their career to where they're less productive.
So our solution, SubeBoost. So I want you guys to imagine a food truck, but instead of a food truck, it's an information truck. And so outside, the menu doesn't offer food options. It offers options to the do's and don'ts in a resume, the information about internship opportunities from schools, and communication. And so this nonprofit organization would be solely composed of advisors. And what these advisors would do would be reaching out to universities, to community colleges, and to vocational schools, and to the school students, such as organization presidents and the help centers, the students who work at help centers, and would also bring in those information to ours. And so what we would offer would be like I said, the networking communication, the do's and don'ts of resume. And so for students who don't catch the SubiBoost, we offer a live broadcast and a website.
Okay, so on this website, it can be found online, and the SubiBoost travels to schools, and students can come into this bus and see our website for the first time in the laptops inside the SubiBoost, and they can talk to the advisors, ask questions about it, and see what's really going on. So on the website, it contains all the previous broadcasts, so if you miss a session, you can watch it again and learn time and time again, so you never forget. Another thing inside the website is a game. So we want to make this competitive and fun because no one likes to lose to their friends. So you create a profile and then put in your information on your internships, networking skills, and things like that. So the more you network, the more points you get. And the more points you get, the better relationship skills you have. So the more successful you can become.
All right, and many of us might ask, where can we start or where can we find a SubiBoost? Well, we decided to take the idea of Ruben Hinojosa, former congressman. We were inspired by him in order to take SubiBoost to the southern areas of Texas.
Yes. So now that we have this solution, of course it's going to cost some money. So we just put these prices here to have like an estimation of how much our deal would cost. Like for the bus, it would probably be like $60,000, or for internet per month, it would be $50. So this gives us an idea of how much money we need to work with. So we have this solution, and of course it has its advantages to it, such as job opportunities / internships. So since these college students are getting guidance for professional relationships, they're more confident when they're networking to get jobs. And another advantage would be able to, it's more accessible because the SubiBus is moving from, it's bringing information to the college students. So if they can't make it, the SubiBus will come to them. And also it creates a competitive but fun environment between their peers. So they're more motivated to learn.
All right, so as we know, this nonprofit isn't the perfect, but it has its limitations. But one of the biggest limitations that we are facing are funding. We need to get sponsors. We would have to get Los Amigos de Subiendo to help sponsor these SubiBoosts around the city.
The expectations we hope to meet is to maintain a quick response rate where we will answer back the questions that the students have. Like if they have any questions, we'll answer them back. We would like to increase the involvement with the students, and we will train our advisors with more information to give back to the students.
And with these expectations met comes expansion. With this professional exposure comes the need for more funding. And with more funding comes our availability to get more SubiBuses to travel across Texas and even globally in the nation, and to have more advisors with us. That way we can share more information with these universities, community colleges, and vocational schools.
So now we just would like for all of you to take a trip with SubiBoost.
Questions? Yes, Oscar.
I like the idea of the SubiBoost. I'd like to hop on sometime. So my question is, what's the difference between a SubiBoost and the career services in the local colleges? How will SubiBoost be a better?
Okay, well, SubiBoost also creates a game environment, so it becomes competitive, and it brings the bus to you. You don't have to go search for it; it comes searching for you. And this will go mainly to universities with less resources, so we can share with them.
And also to add, like I said, we would also reach out to the students of these schools, and so they can connect, peer-to-peer connections. If they were oblivious to some type of information, now they'll know, through us and through their peers, they would be more informed.
You did address that funding was a problem, correct?
Yes.
So I would like to propose a solution, a maybe solution. Since this kind of is advertising colleges, universities, perhaps you could approach them and ask for maybe donations, something along those lines?
Yes, we would search for donations, sponsorships, things such as like that to gain the money to travel these buses. Thank you.
Question back here.
Yes. I was gonna ask, because you guys are buses, how would you get the permit to allow it to be inside the schools? And since you already have systems inside the schools that basically inform the students that, this, you can do this and that in order to get a good job, how would you basically be competing against the schools? So how would you get a permit to be inside the schools?
Well, we're not really competing against schools, we're here to help. We're not here to compete against any other, offers that schools have. We're just here to bring the information. And permits and everything, we would get the same permits that a food truck here in Austin has.
And to add to that, and of course, we would talk beforehand to the colleges, so we're just not on their property talking about, hey, look at our bus. Yeah, we would get permission, of course. So.
Okay, we'll go to Zara and then behind you.
So who's your target audience? Is it just the college students, or would you also go to high school and maybe even communities and talk with them?
I mean, it would be all of them really, but we would just want to for our solution. It's basically, it's on higher education, so we really want to focus on the college. But I mean, it could go to anybody because it's like live broadcast, so they could watch it too if they want.
Okay, Jeremiah, did you have a question?
Okay, so can you give me more details on how is this actually very different from like school-sponsored college fairs or those colleges that come to certain regions and kind of share like how their programs are? Like, how is it different? How is your program set out?
So we delegated about that, and sometimes we feel like even us as high schoolers, we have trouble getting to a place, and we can imagine college students, like sometimes even though get a ride, right? But what if it's 2 hours away? So we decided to make it fun, to break industry, I guess, in which we can go to them. And our website, it also provides those broadcasts and those that information and the do's and the don'ts and how to do it properly. And yeah.
And to add on, the idea of a bus is just different from the environment that a career fair, a job fair would offer. So just a completely new idea that we're trying to give out.
So you're gonna come to my house?
No, we're coming to the university.
You come to the university.
Michael?
So who are your advisors? Who's going to be working for you? Who's going to be working with students, specifically? And why would they work for you all, not the schools?
Okay, so there would be trained advisors, trained professional advisors who would volunteer, alumni, basically, who want to help back and bring back to the community.
Such as here in Subiendo.
And of course, we would have a set standard of qualifications of what each advisor should have in their background and education. So they are qualified to teach abroad in a big mass amount of students at universities.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question. Okay, yes.
Okay. It seems that with this, there would be a lot of social barriers. How would you get people intrigued into actually going to the SubeBoost? Because you did mention that the do's and don'ts of a resume. So other than games and all that stuff, what other suggestions would you propose to get people intrigued into this type of stuff?
Okay, well, so nowadays people, they see things and they want to know what's going on. So if they see a food truck drive by a school, they're gonna be like, what's that? And they're gonna see it, and that's how our marketing is. So we're different. So we gain people interest because we're different, and they're gonna be like, what's going on? And they will become a part of us.
Also, if let's say they're not one of those people that go out that much to go see these type of trucks, we still have our website. We still, all the information that's in the truck is also partly given in the website. Therefore, no one really misses out on the SubeBoost.
And we still have our gaming app to keep, because I know young kids these days like to play games. So
they don't like to lose.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Zahra Tombol from San Marcos, and we're Team Monkeys.
I'm Catherine Serna from Laredo, Texas.
I'm Tabitha O'Connell from Somerset.
I'm Brittany Brito from El Paso, Texas.
I'm Ryan Ressa from El Paso, Texas.
Angel Hernandez, San Antonio.
So our topic is sustainability and park refurbishment. Our main challenge question was, how can we make parks more ecologically sustainable? And ecologically sustainable, it means that we would have the parks would last longer for the future generations as well. So, so we decided to come up with a nonprofit organization that will focus on Austin area at first, and we will tackle the issue of how can we refurbish parks within Austin, since this is a mutual place that we can all come and tackle the issue in. And then we will move on to a state level, which then will allow us to move into national levels.
Okay, so some problems that we're already having. This information is from greataustinparks.org on Austin. Our example is Austin. So mowing cycles have been changed from every 2 weeks to 30 to 45 days due to budget cuts, which harms fields and stuff that teams want to play in. There's also no funding for parking lots, so a lot of the parking lots are broken and they need repairs. And 52% of children's play places in Austin have reached the end of their useful life. So imagine how big Austin is. Half of the parks in Austin are not usable by children. So we want to be able to fix that. And there's only one maintenance team for many miles of bike and hike trails. So one team is in charge of so many miles of trails.
So our proposed solution is to come together and form a nonprofit organization and to start refurbishing parks and playgrounds as well, to have safer playgrounds for children. And you can see in the pictures how it is before, and in Austin it is very clean, and that's how we want our goals to be for the other parks. And with more increasement involvement using social media, we will gather more volunteers.
So the nonprofit itself is called Mooch's Parks, and the reason that we're doing this, as my colleagues have said, is because a lot of parks are not being used because they are unsafe or they're just generally torn down. Personally, my mother's hometown has this one park that she used to always play at. She loved it, and I never get to play at it because now it just sits there. It's so old and it's unsafe for children to be there. Okay, well, I said that I don't get to play there, but I mean, I didn't get to play there as a kid. Anywho, so that was something that I always wanted to do as a kid so I could relate to her, and I didn't get to do it because of the fact that it was so worn down, and it just sits there, nobody takes care of it or anything. And so we would plan to do these, we would plan to refurbish and renew many parks, of course, like my colleague said, starting in Austin through sponsorships and donations.
So to become a nonprofit organization, we would have to apply for 501c3 status, which will establish our organization as a nonprofit within the state of Texas. And we also would have to create a committee who will be in charge of creating the officers and the bylaws that our organization will go by.
So you're probably wondering how we're going to fund for this. Well, of course, we're going to use sponsorships and grants through the Texas Parks and Wildlife, as well as through the Parks and Recs. And here in Austin alone, there's over 135 sponsorships that works with the Parks and Rec, and the 3 types of partnerships that we're looking to work with are the neighborhood and community partnerships, other nonprofit organizations and conservancy partnerships, and business partnerships, and as well as funding to approach the state government and expand to federal government for these expenses.
So the actions that we plan to take is we can focus on the playgrounds, and by changing the materials to make it safer for kids, which we will be using playground tiles, which are more safer for children, and they're long lasting as we want to make them ecologically sustainable.
Okay, so we are gonna get volunteer opportunities. We're gonna give volunteer opportunities to people to help us here. You know, mowing lawns, gardening, placing trash bins where they're needed, getting rid of graffiti, and then picking up litter.
So the advantages of our nonprofit organization include there's more opportunities to volunteer with this because of the what we're trying to establish in refurbishing these parks, and we would make the city more beautiful with these parks by beautifying them. And also this organization would be better and longer lasting than just a random project here and there, because we're establishing this for future generations as well as for ourselves.
Okay, some limitations that may come along with this organization is it could be hard to get the word out to get volunteers and community participation, as well as it may be quite difficult to acquire funding, and the residents of cities may not want to remodel. But with the social media, we could get residents and sponsors in each area on board with all of our ideas, so social media would be a really big help. Also, a lot of society may not feel they should trust our organization because we haven't built a credibility. But in order to gain credibility, we are going to collaborate with the state as well as high schools in the local area. And with this collaboration, we could also get more city approval.
Okay, so we live in a day and age where we use social media every day. We use it pretty much all the time, and so we can reach out to the young audience, to wide extension of the population. We can get adults, children, everybody that uses social media. Pretty much when they get to the page, they'll see what we do and how we're doing it. We'll constantly be updating just everything that we get involved with, just so that they can come together with us. We have a website and we have a really cute logo, so I mean that can help. It's gonna help a lot. People are gonna be like, oh, look, it's really cute. I can help out there. And the website, it really just says what we do, and you can contact us. Obviously, if you want to offer help to us, if you want to maybe possibly collaborate with us in the future. If you have any suggestions, you can also donate money. We're a nonprofit organization, but we're open to any ideas.
So for the future, we want to begin to be able to include purple pipes irrigation systems, because that uses non-drinkable water, but it's treated, and so it saves money and it's more environmentally friendly. We also want to get enough funds for replacements, so we're hoping to by then be able to get funding from the state, and we want to be able to reduce parking lot spaces, because to expand the land so that way again it's more environmentally friendly, and we want to be able to partner with schools. And so for our timeline, within 5 years we want to be Texas-wide, within 10 years we want to be spreading further into the United States, and within 15 years we want to be nationwide. And so we have a plan in place, and this is something that we're really passionate about and we really want to accomplish. Thank you.
For your time.
What kind of research did you all do to find out what the cities are doing to improve the parks?
So I researched online at Austin government's page to see what percentage of budget is accounted for Parks and Recreation Department and how much of it is actually used for refurbishing the parks. And I found out that 29.8% of Austin's total budget is designated for parks, planning, and operations. But it doesn't just include refurbishing, it also includes activities that go along, especially in Austin, the music festivals and park activities that are in parks are huge. And so those do get funding, but refurbishment usually doesn't. So we want to tackle the issue that we want to raise money through from the government as well as through funding from our partners to refurbish our parks, as well as from our communities to volunteer and to get our parks more ecologically sustainable.
And another part to that question, what is the difference between you and Keep Texas Beautiful?
I don't know about that specific organization, I'm guessing, but we do want to we want to see the examples that are in Austin and kind of focus ourselves around those and kind of like make ourselves an organization like them to take around the state of Texas. So we want to go statewide as well as nationwide in the future.
The Austin one is Keep Austin Beautiful.
Okay, I will get information about that and I turn back to you. Thank you.
So to add on really quick about what she said, so we're basically gathering ideas from similar projects or organizations as ours, but we want to be able to branch off from them.
You all were mentioning that your main goal was to rebuild and refurbish slides and parking lots and parks. Is that correct?
No, that is
one future goal.
Yeah.
It's a portion of your solution.
Yes. Wait, what's your question?
Okay. How are you going to get the material that is necessary to rebuild and refurbish these slides and parking lots?
I did research on the materials that was most efficiently for like playgrounds mostly, and I think with the use of the funding, we would be able to pay for those.
We also want to get state funding as well.
And we had looked up many different materials, so that way we can see what material is best, what lasts the longest, what's the cheapest. We looked into all of those to figure out what are the best materials to rebuild these parks with.
With the purple irrigation pipe specifically, how much more do you make the parks ecologically sustainable? And if you only refurbish, then won't the same hazards materialize later on, like in 20 years?
So with the refurbishing, that's basically like where we're starting. But like I said during the presentation, in the future, in the future we hope to be able to get funding to replace things in case they're not sufficient anymore. Like if it were to cost more to refurbish them, like you said, that they won't be as long lasting, then we do hope to replace them. But right now, as far as funding goes, we will be focusing on refurbishing. And what you said about the purple pipes, it's oh yes, go ahead.
So purple pipes is pretty much you use the water that may not be safe to drink, but we use that for gardening. So instead of using more energy to purify that water to be able to drink, we would use that in our gardens. So we would save money and energy at the same time.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
How independent do you feel your nonprofit is if you're relying on state funding to operate?
Well, okay, I'll answer that. We're not only relying on state funding, we will also reach out to other sponsors and businesses. Like I know Google and Target, they're really good about, as well as other businesses, of course, they're good about giving back to the community. And I know that my colleague Ryan here, he did some research on specific sponsors that deal with things like this. I don't know if you want to tag on.
There are certain sponsorships that fund for park needs as well as for youth needs, such as activities that go on in the park. And going back to what you said about being independent, we also want to take our project back home to where we are and incorporate our own high schools in our own cities in order to start spreading, and so that way we grow attention and we get the needs from where we're from.
And then when mentioning state funding, I think it's more of like we're trying to advocate for the state to change some of their funding for more to just refurbishing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not us really asking them for state funding, it's just for them to kind of change where they put their park funds.
Picture this: Cecilia Rodriguez, Student Council President, National Qualifier for TSA, salutatorian of her class. She's bound for great things. She has a great future. But sadly, Her school administration wasn't very supportive of her. Therefore, she wasn't able to apply to as many scholarships as she would have been able to, and she can't pay for college. So she's not going to be able to fulfill her dream of becoming a doctor. We aim to minimize the amount of students that don't get to go to college because of lack of funding.
Here's some of the data that we collected regarding our issue. According to USA Today, the main reason that students don't apply for applications is because of the mindset that I'll never win one, so what's the point? However, the Washington Post claimed that most high school students are qualified for 50 to 100 scholarships. So if qualifications isn't the issue, what's another barrier? There's this common misconception that students with high GPAs are the only ones to get scholarships. However, in the book, Secrets to Winning a Scholarship, only 19% of students with a 3.5 to 4.0 GPA get scholarships solely based on that. Another issue is that a lot of scholarship applicants get denied because they have incomplete applications or spelling errors. We have $49.3 billion annually to give out to scholarships and grants, so we have the financial support. However, we have over $2.9 billion in unclaimed scholarships. We strive to assist all aspects of a student to help them and decline the amount of unclaimed scholarships.
And with that $2.9 billion, there are some serious implications. First is apathy and responsibility. The problem is that students either don't care or care to try and win scholarships or aren't encouraged to achieve the scholarship dreams. This is of vital importance today because schooling is the first big responsibility faced by many teenagers. Higher education and career preparation are an opportunity for not only personal growth but also lifetime success. Without a foundation in education, we perpetuate cycles of inequality, both educational and income. These issues intersect with generations, so communities and schools must be front and center. So that's why our solution emphasizes the local connections.
Our solution is ScholarShop, a retail website tailored towards local scholarships, a concept for the community by the community. So basically, you're shopping for free money. We're going to start pilot programs in border areas, specifically El Paso and the Rio Grande Valley, two areas that are similar demographically and geographically, and contain limited resources with plenty of opportunities. Our two priorities are exposure and empowerment. As you see above me, this is the website we have designed. It is very user-friendly and accessible. You simply select your community and navigate through our services. We offer scholarships, internships, and service. You can also easily access our social media and mentorship programs.
Along with this website, in the website, we will have a common form application. So when you sign up for the website, you will fill out an application that is very similar to all scholarships. So you fill out your basic information like FAFSA, biographic information, extracurricular, GPA, but there will be a section for personalized information. So you will fill out your hobbies, your likes, your talents, everything that makes you, you. So then we will filter scholarships to match that specific person locally, statewide, and nationally. It'll be easily transferable so you can transfer information if you're filling out multiple scholarships. We will engage students through social media.
Okay, yes, so we will be using social media as a big asset. According to Pew Research, approximately 92% of all high school students are connected in some way to social media. Now that's a huge number. We're gonna try and engage, so our goal is to maximize. We're gonna try and maximize not only like the availability of these scholarships available now, like locally, but the knowledge of awareness. So as you can see, we're gonna use Twitter. With Twitter, we're gonna throw out deadlines, new scholarships available. We're gonna use Snapchat. We're gonna promote scholarship of the week in college of the day. We're gonna use Facebook. Facebook is gonna be used more as a platform where students can create inter-networks so they can grow together as a foundation already established so that they can be more ready for college.
In addition to this, we will be providing mentorship for our students. We have already secured a guaranteed partnership with a not-for-profit company, NextGenVest. Now, this is where they come in hand. First, they provide virtual conferences for students to discuss the basic ideas of their program. And beyond this, they provide students with a free individualized personal money mentor who is, first of all, professionally trained, and second of all, is a college-age volunteer who has the relevant experiences to give them proper insights. The Money Mentors provide support to students, answering any personal questions 24/7 while building a mentor-student relationship. This is where we want to give our students a choice, as opposed to
our wide range how-to experience, which will provide students options on how they want to fill out applications, either through watching videos or articles that will teach them how to polish their essays, how to maximize their resumes, and also give them tips and tricks on how to manage their time and be organized, which is all part of helping them get them ready for the application.
Another area of our solution is one of my favorites. It is the effort to be a continuous influence in the student's life. We will provide access to local opportunities in the forms of internships, community service, and summer programs. Essentially, not only will we provide the scholarship, but we will be directly involved in the process to help bolster the application and equip students with the necessary qualifications.
We also have preemptive measures that we have listed to help tackle obstacles that we might face in the future. For example, labor, we would fix that by utilizing college students that are willing to donate their time and help the community. We would also utilize college community-based organizations that would help the community. When it comes to finances, we plan to fix this problem by attaining grants, sponsorships, corporate sponsorships like HEB, and when it comes to participation, we would like to use social media like we said before. And also, we would like to partner with the districts that we are using, like the Rio Grande Valley and El Paso, which we have contacted and are willing to help us.
So I would like to add to what my colleague said, and yes, we have already contacted them, and they're all for it. They think it's a great idea. Now, if Cecilia had worked through Scholarshop, she would have been able to become a doctor, but she wasn't able to, and if she had, she would have been able to give back to her community, not only through motivation, but also to economic prosperity. So these locations where we're basing our foundation through, these are low economic areas, and we're gonna try to increase the economic prosperity and give back to the students by providing them with more resources. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, go here.
Do you guys plan on expanding to other geographic areas of Texas?
Right. Yes, this is one idea that we had. What we want to do with this being a pilot program, we want to reach a certain number of students. We have this idea of guaranteeing or trying to give each student at least $2,000 in scholarships and financial aid. What we realize is that part of the billions of dollars that students don't get in money is because they don't know how to fill out the FAFSA. That guarantees students almost $5,000, and what we propose is after we get a total matching total of $500,000 that we begin to expand to other parts of the state of Texas.
Yes. So I do have a question. What is it that separates Scholarshop from other scholarship directories? Because both the College Board and the National American Directory seem to offer many of the same services you do. So what is it that makes you unique?
Okay, well, we're a cycle. So we start off by not only showing them scholarships, which is what all these organizations do, but we help them get those scholarships. And not only that, but we're based locally, so we're offering them scholarships that all of these national websites don't offer. These are the scholarships that go unclaimed, and so they add up and are a large part of the billions of dollars that are unclaimed.
There's also the factor that for the personalized section, you may not put on a normal application, your hobbies. And there's so many scholarships that people don't know about because you don't know really what to look for. So we're basing the scholarships that we match you with on the specific person, which a lot of scholarship websites don't really do.
Another question. Carmen?
Yeah, so in the application process, you said that you would like to, one of the essential problems is that students don't exactly know how to fill out certain parts of the application, which is completely understandable, but later when you were mentioning your application process, it seemed that there were just as many complications. I could be getting that wrong, but how does your company help out with the application process?
So first of all, like we have our application itself, which is going to be a basic fill in your information, but we also have the how-to videos and articles for students to use, and we're going to provide this partnership with Next Invest, which literally gives each student their own personal money mentor who can give them every day, anytime, 24/7 tips and tricks, ideas on how to do it, and give them specific step-by-step directions on how to complete our application, how to complete other applications, and any other problem that they have with the college process.
Sarah?
So are these scholarships based on their locally or are they national?
Okay, well, scholarship, it depends on what you would like. Like, we would like to focus on local scholarships because they're the ones that go on claim, but we also offer all the scholarships that, like, other scholarship websites offer, like FastWeb and stuff like that.
And
But,
where do you find those scholarships?
I'm sorry?
Where do you find those scholarships to study nationally?
On our website. So the idea behind our right, okay, good, that's a good question, right? So the idea, first of all, we have the national scholarships on the websites. We're putting it into one place, and we specifically find the local scholarships not only through our partnerships with like Brownsville ISD, who have this database of scholarships, but we also go into the communities and communicate with different small businesses and churches and community-based organizations that offer scholarships but don't have the resources to advertise on FastWeb. And we provide the students an opportunity to look on our website and get all of the information that they need while prioritizing local scholarships and giving them an opportunity to win bigger scholarships also.
Okay, to add on that, basically what we'll have on our website is we'll provide you with as many scholarships as we can, but there'll be this like on the search tab where you put in your zip code. That's when the local scholarships will appear. That'll also appear like on the Common App. You know, like that's what like we're trying to do. Not only provide you with the local ones, like we're focusing on that, but we're also giving you all other scholarships.
Time management is a key aspect. So how are you gonna engage those students who don't have the time to go online and to get into your website? Don't have the time to.
So one of our great things is Snapchat, which Marcia can explain a little bit more since. Oh, I mean,
Okay.
sorry.
So basically, we're gonna try and engage students. So we'll give you like a scholarship of the week. You can just focus on that scholarship the whole week. So it won't be like that overwhelming. Get me? So on our website, can you please go back to the website real quick? If you can see it where it says cart, so it's like kind of like you're shopping for scholarships, right? You might not have the time, so you add it to your cart. You can come back to it later. That way, it's not lost. Your information is not lost. It's always a progress. Okay, that's how we're trying to maximize. You know.
And the essence of a common scholarship application form is for a student to be able to quickly insert the information on one form and have that form multiply to however many scholarships, 5, 10, 20, 100, that they're matched with who are in our database.
Nice job, Team Pepsi.
And go.
Okay, once again, my name is Damaris, and these are my colleagues. The name of our non-profit organization is Keep Texas Healthy. Our slogan is a healthy you, a healthy us. Our essential question is how can we train young adults and their families to be more literate in healthcare and to know its benefits and the options that they offer for you. Upon this challenge, we realized that we were actually part of the problem because when we got this question, we were like, we do not know what healthcare is. We don't know what we will get when we're older, so we had to do a lot of research, a lot of statistics and data to realize the benefits that it actually offers. So right away, can I get 10 volunteers for me to stand up, please? Okay, those of you standing, let's just pretend it's 10, but of those of you standing, if you do know about healthcare and you are informed, please sit down.
Okay, so those of you that remain standing represent the 9 out of 10 people who do not know anything about healthcare and lack the abilities to be informed on its benefits and what it offers.
So,
Please sit down.
So what are some reasons why people are illiterate about their health care?
They have limited education.
They're minorities.
They're poor.
They don't speak English.
And why are young adults least likely to have health care insurance?
Because they're young and healthy, so what's the point of buying it if they're not going to use it?
Well, actually, young adults spend the least amount on healthcare per capita at only about $1,600. And with them being single and low income, they usually don't have the money to make healthcare affordable.
Okay, well, it is also important to understand that young adults and adults who are healthy should get health insurance because we contribute to the pool of money that help hospitals take care of the people who are sick. And in turn, when we get sick, hospitals will be able to take care of us. Now, I have a question for all of you. Who can guess how much is spent on people without health care insurance?
I'm assuming around 10,000.
You are actually incorrect. It costs Central Texas more than $600 million to attend people that do not have health insurance.
Wow.
That's crazy.
A lot.
The following graph shows the relationship between ethnicity and education with healthcare literacy. The data shown on the ethnicity graph shows that the majority of people who don't know much about healthcare represent the Hispanic population. And on the education level graph, it is shown that people with less than a high school graduate degree are the ones who are least likely to be informed on health care.
So this table compares the hospital someone with health insurance and someone without health insurance will receive in an identical situation. So like my friend who broke his arm was not able to drive himself to the hospital and ended up needing a ride from an ambulance. Just the ride itself was an outraging $10,000. Overall, if he would have had insurance, he would have been fully covered and not been in debt like he is today.
Some more benefits about health insurance is that it not only increases wages, it creates jobs and generates tax revenue. It also contributes to our GDP, which stands for gross domestic product, and it tells us how well our economy is doing in a given year in our nation. So by our consumers spending more money on health insurance, we generate our economy and therefore prove to be more successful as a nation.
So now that we have seen the problems around about this topic, now we can create a mission. So we want to work together to educate our community about health insurance, to prevent financial disasters, and to promote common welfare.
The following are essential questions that we should ask ourselves and help young adults understand. How much is the entire healthcare premium? What does your insurance cover? And what are your predictable costs each month?
So how will we manage our solutions?
So we'd start off by developing a nonprofit organization such as Keep Texas Healthy, which would be specifically tasked with advocating for the education on healthcare access and resources. And with that, we would supplement that by partnering with hospital systems, health centers, and safety net hospitals for them to provide us with personnel and funding, and also to provide us with a strategic partner that is in the healthcare field. And with that, we would branch out into social media outreach through things such as email, text messaging, Facebook, and Twitter, where we would provide relevant information related to healthcare, such as tips when weighing healthcare options, simple advice when looking up healthcare terms such as premium, deductible, and co-payment, and by providing statistics that are relevant and simple to understand. Because what we've noticed is that many healthcare initiatives, they overestimate the knowledge the population has on healthcare, and so we've tried to minimize that by making things simple, easy to understand, and targetable. And continuing with that, we would we'd also reach out into grassroots activism, where we would set up a sort of promotora system where we would get volunteers, doctors, physicians from different racial and socioeconomic backgrounds to go out into communities to talk about people about the healthcare issues affecting them, to provide guidance on healthcare topics, and to be a bridge between those communities, health professionals, and the healthcare systems. And continuing with that, we would also have healthcare fairs and workshops where we would provide financial literacy classes, brochures with relevant information, and also exercises that test what the people know about healthcare.
Additionally, we would partner with Team Moose on their app to provide healthcare tips in conjunction with their medical history component.
Well, I mean, I really like this idea, but what about I mean, what if we lack fully equipped professionals that can help us?
We would we would seek professional training and also train the people who'd be working with.
But what if we have restricted funding?
We could do a trial phase with limited resources and see where it goes from there.
But what if people don't want to go and we have a low turnout?
We can implement for performance and analysis.
But what if we have a lack of cooperation from local government?
Well, we could provide justified evidence and evaluate projected benefits.
Okay.
And so the ultimate goal of our program would be to eventually, on a county level, create healthcare programs that are marketable to young adults, such as the Tonic system, which basically was a service that provided low premiums, high catastrophic coverage, dental and vision health to young adults, which made healthcare more accessible and more visible. And similar to that, on another county level, the Michigan implemented their Wayne County Health Choice Program, which provided healthcare to over 1,000 young adults, as well as 500 part-time employees.
These are some of our goals.
So one of our goals would be to promote a young adult population that understands healthcare access and resources.
Another one would be to gain positive data and feedback that we can use in the future.
Another one would be to promote household stability, health status, and local economic activity.
Oh, so I get it. When our programs prove to be successful, the amount of insured people will increase, and so the quality of our healthcare will also increase. And the money spent by hospitals will decrease.
Yes,
Exactly.
And now we'd like to open the floor to any questions.
Any questions? Yes, Michael?
Why is your program unique, and why would partners work with you over existing organizations?
Well, our is unique because we're specifically targeting young adult populations. Young adults, out of all age groups, are the ones that spend the least amount of healthcare. And why our organizations want to partner with us is because many of these people are uninsured, and when they go into hospitals such as safety net hospitals, they cost those hospitals more money. And so, with us educating these populations and in collaboration with our partners, we'd be able to educate these people who are uninsured, and thus giving them more insight into the healthcare field, and thus defraying the obligation that these institutions have to provide healthcare access to these people.
And besides that, we would also help out families because, as we had said, sometimes families don't really know what these fancy terms mean, especially my parents. I mean, they don't speak English very fluently, and so whenever they come across these words, maybe sometimes they don't have the time to learn and understand what these mean, so most of the times they are ignorant to these situations. Exactly, sorry.
We'll go here because you haven't had a question yet.
More specifically, how would you implement social media?
Okay, that's a really good question. We would start off small with social media that is free, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Most of us can agree that we all have that. Once we get the appropriate funds, we would like to place ads on Spotify and Premium, Spotify and Pandora, I'm sorry. I have some stats on that. Actually, only 25% of people who have Spotify pay for Premium. So if you pay for Premium, you don't get to listen to ads, right? So that means that 75% of people registered on Spotify are listening to ads. So they can't skip it. They have to listen to whatever we have to say on those ads. And we know that it can be vexatious and annoying, but it is going to get the word out there, and we can our ad can be trendy, attract the population that is currently like what they're into. Another one would be Pandora. Out of the 250 million registered users on Pandora, only 3.3 million people pay. So that means that 246.7 million people are going to be listening to these ads. And these ads go on every hour, ranging from 4 ads to 7 ads. So it's going to get the word out there.
And although ads can be annoying and repetitive, we learned in a workshop that repetition actually works. And if we do like a little jingle or a song, people might actually remember it more and actually enjoy the ad to a certain extent.
What?
Okay, so I think you did mention that most youth are apathetic, I guess, about healthcare, mainly because most of them are like, let's say, healthy. So my question is, how are you going to motivate the youth to seek out healthcare in the first place? Again, your program may seem to work, but yeah, how are you going to motivate them to?
We're trying to make healthcare more transparent and visible because that's the main issue with healthcare in itself to young adults. Young adults see healthcare as an obscure and not visible area, and so what we're trying to do with that is provide transparency. And so our primary purpose, especially with our social media outreach, would be to make this healthcare information more accessible and more interactive. And that's where we'd be really hitting them hard with the social media. And we also try to make things really simple, especially because for the most of the young adult demographic, the technical and medical terms associated with healthcare are really confusing. And so we try to downplay that by making terms and usage more simple, and that we're more able to effectively reach them. And especially with the programs we talked about, such as Tonic and Health Choice, we also want to do that to make healthcare more accessible to young adults and more marketable to them in order to get them and their families more interested in looking at healthcare and choosing better healthcare options.
And something we also want to make the youth understand is that maybe healthcare is not going to benefit you right away, but whenever you are paying for healthcare, you are helping hospitals get money for people that do get sick. And so later, by this, we can improve the economy, and hoping that everybody gets insurance, maybe we can even lower down the insurance costs. And so this might not benefit you right now, as we said, but maybe later on it will, because you will be sick at some point and it'll help you. And that's what we want to make people understand by teaching them a bit more about how insurance works.
And adding to the youth being more involved, we did plan on adding incentives, such as maybe at a local convention center we can offer prizes, or maybe like a pie eating contest, who can eat the most hot dogs, things that attract the younger population, because that proves to be effective for like Halloween festivals and like I don't know, like the sack where you jump and like, it's like a race. And I think that can attract the younger population a lot more and get them started when they're young.
Okay, good. Linda, last one.
I don't know, when you said hot dogs and you said pies and you're talking about healthcare, it just kind of contradicted where you all stand by. I'm sorry.
I think pies and hot dogs are good in limited amounts. Not very often, maybe. Have fun sometimes, a little bit. Not everything is good in huge amounts. Yes, we understand that, but we wouldn't do it often. We would get other ideas, other activities, learn and grow that way, see other examples.
And it's also more like about health insurance, educating health insurance. I mean, there's a lot of other organizations that actually take care about the the health aspect of our bodies. I mean, we can help. We can work together.
Nice job, folks.